Hello, my name is Ian Smith, and I'm the Director of High School Instruction for District 200. I want to welcome you to our third annual, but first ever virtual 2020 Business Incubator Final Pitch Competition for Wheaton North and Wheaton Warrenville South High Schools. As you know, our campuses have been closed for over 2 months, but our Business Incubator students, in true Falcon and Tiger spirit, have not lost any time in continuing to develop, iterate, and perfect their incubator products and pitches. From an initial pool of over 20 Business Incubator teams who submitted entries, tonight's 6 finalist teams, 3 from each campus, will compete for a $500 Product Development Award, a $1,000 Development Award, and for our 2020 Business Incubator Investment Grand Winner, a $2,500 Product Development Award. Investment funds which will allow our students to continue to develop their products. In addition, all students from these 3 finalist teams will win $100 each to reward them for their efforts. Before we begin, I'd like to say thank you to the many Business Incubator mentors, coaches, and advisors who have lent so much of their talent, time, and energy to bring our students so far. To our excellent Business Incubator teachers, Mr. Greg Chrisman and Mr. Tim Brilka. To our amazing pool of sharks, whom you'll meet in just a few minutes. To our District Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Jeff Schuler, and the administrative team who have supported this program every step of the way. And finally, to our sponsor, the Student Excellence Foundation, which provided the financial assistance to make this event possible. And now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you our sharks.
My name is Rob Christensen. I work for a company called Fortinet. I sell network security solutions to school districts and government entities in Illinois.
Hi, my name is Paul Dado. I own a local financial service company.
Hey guys, this is Jay Haas. I actually operate 2 businesses. One is Transnational Payments. It's a payment technology business. And the second is Verity IT Solutions. We offer managed services to small and medium-sized businesses.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Breuer, and I am with Northwestern Medicine.
Hi, I'm Tim Traxinger. I own a IT consulting company in Glen Ellen. We're a Microsoft Gold partner, so we do everything Microsoft. And looking forward to hearing y'all.
Hi, I'm Jeff Walter. I am President and Chief Integration Officer at Ray & Kaiser in Naperville.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Woods, and I'm retired, but I am a board member on the Student Excellence Foundation, which funds your prizes, and looking forward to hearing you guys.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Peter Svach. I'm a Senior Vice President with Cantor Fitzgerald. And Cantor Fitzgerald's company's been around for 75 years, largest private investment bank on Wall Street. So it's good to see a lot of these folks make it this far, and hopefully we can have our next big deal. And who knows, maybe end up in front of Cantor Fitzgerald someday. Thanks.
Fashion is at the forefront of our current generation. From the shirts we wear to our pants to even our belts, everything we wear matters. So that's why when I was invited to my family friend's wedding, I knew I had to look my best. The shirt I chose, perfect. The pants I wore, perfect. But then came my belt. I put on my belt, and to my horror, the tail end of my belt was hanging between my belt loops. Not only was it quite uncomfortable, but everyone around me could see the tail end of my belt flapping in the breeze. So as I gave up hope on looking presentable, I turned to my table and saw the Belt-Cro. With our new belt clip, it's as easy as sticking a piece of included Velcro onto your belt, clipping the Velcro onto your waist, and sticking them together. The detachable clip allows you to use any Velcro on any of your belts. Currently, unless you would like to purchase a new belt, your belt tail would just have to keep hanging. But with the Belt-Cro, it's as simple and hidden away so you and only you know the secret behind your perfect looking belt. Next time you need your belt looking perfect, remember Belt-Cro. Simple, sleek, sticks, and fits every time.
We're Team Westline Design, and I'm Kai Shores, Nevada.
I'm Anthony Tran.
I'm Johnny Guo.
And I'm Zach Hasterjon.
So the problem that we're trying to solve is a lot of the times belts are too long, too short, and they end up just looking sloppy. So for our customer segments, we're targeting college students who may not be able to afford to buy a brand new belt, fashion conscious individuals who generally care about their appearance more than others, and also the parents of young adults and high schoolers, so that they can probably afford to buy the Belt-Cro over a new belt because their child is constantly growing.
Come on, come on. Ugh. Do you have trouble fitting your belt? So when you find yourself in this situation, what can you do? I got it. I could just poke a hole in my belt. Or maybe I could use this. Maybe I need something else. How about this? Introducing the Belt-Cro. Simply take the clip and attach it to the inside of your belt, and by using a piece of included Velcro, the tail end of your belt, you're able to keep your belt tail down. It's as easy as that. Now there's no more belt tails flapping in the wind. Velcro. Simple, sleek, sticks, and fits every time.
As we saw from the video, our solution is a belt clip. It's a simple, sleek design that we made perfectly to fit into every single type of belt, fabric, leather, and many more. With attachment of a Velcro adhesive, we're able to put it on the inside of the belt, fixing this tail end of the belt catastrophe.
So the existing solutions are currently drilling a hole in your belt, a rubber band, and you guessed it, scissors. But for real, our main competitor is actually the belt hole puncher, which can be commonly found in on Amazon and then like other online stores.
Here is what makes us unique to those main competitors like the belt hole puncher. We are one, compact, concealable, affordable, and also fits every single belt.
Our total addressable market is 65 million people. This is from ages 12 to 25, and we believe that this is a good age range because we're targeting people in high school and college. We don't think that this number is an overestimate because in a single year alone in the US, the largest belt manufacturer makes over 70 million belts. Next, for our service addressable market, we have 8.3 million people. We're targeting college students because at this moment in their lives, they could still be growing, and not only that, but they don't really have the income to buy as many belts as they want for each one that they grow out of. So for our market share, it's going to be 3% of the 8.3 million people. That'll give us 300,000 people, and we picked this number because it's a small number, it's a small percentage of the total amount of people that we want to address in our service addressable market. And we know that not everybody has belt troubles, and we feel the 3.6% is very reasonable.
All right. So for stage one of the Belt-Cro, we decided to get a general design now. So we started with a very bulky clip that was very thick and really only did a good job of fitting bigger belts, as it would just slide around on smaller belts. We didn't have any sort of indent for the Belt-Cro, and we had no branding on the clip itself, as it was a prototype that was completely fine, but we quickly moved away from it, seeing that we wanted to fit more belts.
So for stage two of the belt design, we kind of simplified it a little bit and made it more concealable. So like the overall dimensions are a lot smaller, and so it would hide behind the belt a lot easier. And we noticed that the clip stayed still and it worked better because it was smaller. Although it does break easily because of the hard plastic material that we made it out of.
So after we were done making our MVP, our minimum viable product, we shipped it out to the people to test. And since it was right before the Corona pandemic, we were only able to get a limited amount of responses. So across the board, we found that the belt clip was 100% concealable with everyone we interviewed. However, we came across a problem with the second version of the clip where it was too rigid with the hard plastic and the center support just wasn't enough and just snapped. This happened to 20% of the people that we interviewed when they were asked, did the Belt-Cro hold down all day? And it was only a small fraction, but we still want to improve the design. So we took our survey data, what we got from our MVP testing, and we're going to incorporate it into the final design of our Belt-Cro to make it better.
So even with our limited amount of data that we did gather from the few surveys that were sent back to us, we still need to make a strong final design. With our final design, we created a sleeker design with an angled back design that's able to provide a secure attachment to the belt. With the flexible plastic material instead, it can decrease the damage that is put onto the belt, providing a more comfortable experience for the user and for the belt. We try to create a future magnetic model to those who would believe that this is a sleeker design. So our idea is to put a metal sheet onto the belt clip, what we put on inside, whether it could be iron or whether it can be some sort of magnetic metal, and put a magnet in the inside of the belt. With that, it can create a secure attachment, and it will still do the same work as a Belt-Cro, but be a sleeker, magnetic, and futuristic design.
The pricing strategy we decided to use was cost plus. Now, we decided to use cost plus as a single Belt-Cro was cheap enough to produce, where our gross margin percent was big enough without us having to add on any sort of fees. So for a single Belt-Cro, as you see, it's 50 cents with product packaging of 19 cents. The shipping costs an additional 110, and our total COGS per unit is 179. So we decided to base the unit price at $6.99 or $7. That yields a gross margin percent of 74%. And so we decided to entice customers with a better value, which would be a value pack of 2 Belt-Cros in different colors. Now, for that is $1 for the 2 Belt-Cros, simply 50 plus 50. Product packaging remains the same at 19 cents with shipping of $1.10, or a total COGS per unit of $2.29. Now that raises our gross margin percent slightly at 77%, and we believe that is a better value and will entice customers to purchase more of our product.
So what is the value pack? We all know that belts come in different colors and sizes. So with the value pack, there's going to be 2 different types of colored Belt-Cros, varying from sizes if you like. And it could be either black, brown, white, and there's just going to be a variety of choices which will entice the customer to purchase a value pack. Not only that, but on the side, there's going to be 4 attachable loops and hooks for the Belt-Cro, and maybe in the future, there will even be magnetic Belt-Cros. Okay, so let's take a look at the revenue. So we have 2 products. We have the 1 clip and a value pack. For 1 clip, it's going to be $6.99, and of course, the value pack's going to be a better deal at $9.99 with 2 Belt-Cros. And so for the first year, we're going to be looking at around 2,000 Belt-Cros sold, and this is going to be split between the 1 clip and the value pack. And if we're going through this route, it's going to be a revenue around 18,000. For the second year, it's going to be around 5,000 Belt-Cros sold, and it's going to be 45,000 as the revenue, hopefully. A third final year, we're going to be increasing our marketing and hopefully pushing those sales out. And hopefully we'll be able to push around 13,000 Belt-Cros, again, split half with more of the value packs being sold. And with this, hopefully we'll get 114,000 in revenue.
And now for SG&As. For the website, we have a consistent cost of $143 a year, or around $11 a month. For the advertisement, we plan on increasing our advertisement from year to year. So for year 1, we're going to have $200 worth of advertising. In year 2, $500, and then finally at year 3, we're going to go for $1,000 worth of advertising. For the Belt-Cros, we're going to start off with a small production, and we're going to start moving it up from year to year. For year 1, we're going to do about $3,800 worth of Belt-Cros. For year 2, we're going to do about $96,000 worth of Belt-Cros. And for year 3, we're going to do about $24,000 worth of Belt-Cros. Now, for the totals for year 1, 2, and 3, we have an increasing slope at $4,100 for year 1, $10,200 for year 2, and finally $25,000 for year 3.
So for the startup cost, the initial cost for the injection molds will cost about $12,000, and that's just for the 3D printing machine that we use to manufacture the Belt-Cros. And then also the startup cost for the website will be about $12, and that's usually like a maintenance price over like the course of a year.
So our MVP, we've developed MVP, we collected the data, and we're improving it right now. We already have the finished design. We already know what materials we're using, the rubberized plastic. And not only that, but we're experimenting on more potential clip designs using magnets and sheet metal. And hopefully soon, a short time after this Corona situation is over, we'll be able to roll it out. So for getting our name out there, we're going to be planning to do some advertisement with Instagram. And we already have our own Instagram account, and this is just like some free marketing on the side. We already have several followers on that site, and we just post constant updates, what kind of different plans we have for our customers in the future. And we're going to be posting all of that on Instagram. And for Google Ads, that's another thing that we're going to be looking at with paid advertisements. We think that Google is a place that many people frequent in their search for just like general belt topics. And so whenever they'll find something related to belts or fitting belts, our advertisement that we paid for will pop up. And we think this is a good way because our ad will show up at the top of the page, and if they click on it, that's only when we have to pay for it. So we think it's a good deal. And we'll also be using YouTube as a way to advertise. And this is going to be another way of us free advertising, because we already have several videos on YouTube just for entertainment, just for fun. And even that can just draw some people in. And maybe in the future, if we find YouTube to be very effective in marketing, we can even pay for advertisements.
Next time you're looking for the perfect belt, remember Belt-Cro. Simple, sleek, sticks, and fits every time. Thank you.
Sounds great. Hey guys, this is Jeff Walter. So first of all, thanks for going first. Never an easy task in these scenarios, especially given some of the technology requirements. So wanted to start out by just congratulating you guys on a really great concept. Was really impressed with the fact that you guys were able to identify and clearly define a problem that exists and come up with such a simple, elegant solution, but yet still very unique in what it delivers in terms of value. So I guess the first question I was going to ask was, you outlined early on in the video, in the presentation, some different target audiences. And one of the things you mentioned was parents and fashion-focused individuals. But then you kind of, further in the video, you limited your range of age from that kind of 12 to 25. And I was just wondering kind of what led you guys down that path that seemed like a little bit of an evolution. And I was wondering what kind of guided you guys to focus in a little bit on that age group and not necessarily stay with some of the original audiences.
So initially we were thinking parents and students, and like just like people who would buy like items for their kids, or just teenagers who would buy, like, have belts and be going to like events, like maybe for school, maybe for like church or whatever, whatever they need belts for. And we were just focusing on those kind of people. But then we were thinking that we needed like a way to gauge exactly how many people we're trying to target. And then we were just thinking that maybe students from like 12 to 25 would be like a good range to target.
We might have just forgot to mention or bring up again the parents towards the end, because I still think that's part of our targeted customer segments. So we just need to reiterate, we're also targeting parents of high schoolers and college students. in that age bracket. So.
Is there anything through the MVP process that you wished you could have learned, or maybe, having hindsight, you'd go back and also try to incorporate into your learning now that, you're sitting a few weeks away?
For me personally, I wish we had explored the idea of different sizes and different colors more often, like more than we did, because when I was handing them out, the MVPs out, I noticed a lot of the women's belts were thinner than I had anticipated. The color, there's a lot of coloration in them too, especially, but for the most part, the men's belts were generally black or brown. And we just wanted to emphasize our unique value property, one of them being concealable. And so I wish I had just explored the option of different colors and things like that.
I personally think that, so we finally decided on a more flexible Belt-Cro, and although that's the end process, I wish we started working with different materials sooner, as a huge part of the design process was trying to prevent it from breaking. And although we did a lot of design changes in the center of the clip, we never thought of materials until the very end.
And even for the future models, like we're thinking about like magnets instead. We were thinking about doing that, and when we're preparing for that, like unfortunately, like due to like COVID-19 shutting down the schools and everything, and all the other shops, we don't really have enough time to go to or we can't really go to other science places to figure out like types of magnets or different types of metals we can use. And it was kind of unfortunate, but we wish we could have done that more towards like winter.
So being the kind of one of the resident marketing guys of the group, so I noticed you had set aside, I think $200 in year one for marketing or advertising, and around $500 in year two. And I was just curious how you guys kind of arrived at those numbers. I know you talked a little bit about SEM and some YouTube videos, but wondered how you arrived at those numbers.
So I think those numbers there were just we didn't really know exactly how much it would be, because for example, the Google ads, I think it's based off of like clicks, same with YouTube and Instagram. And so in a way, we didn't really know exactly how much we wanted to put into marketing, but we do know that marketing is a big part. And throughout the years, if we want to increase the sales, we have to increase the marketing, but just we didn't know at what rate, just because of the different factors, like exactly how well we target it, how many clicks there's going to be, the different price ranges for different platforms such as like YouTube or like Instagram. So that was a part that we were really kind of unsure about, but we know is an important part.
Yeah, so my only piece of advice would be, so I think SEM is a great place for you guys to be. So when someone's searching for a solution to the problem, you're right there. But I think that there's also a large percent of the population that may not necessarily think to search for a solution. So, and if they're not, you're going to have to actively find them. So I would consider putting a little bit more budget in there, especially being a new company and unknown, around some maybe targeted social or even some display on Google, whether it's in video or pre ahead of the loop. So just something to think about.
Yeah, and then I heard if you can attach your website to like keywords that people search on Google to like make it more likely that your ads will pop up. So like keywords like belt or fashion or like things DIY, things like that might benefit like our ad.
You guys do any research on what it costs to run ads as like we've got a hack for working with your belt kind of a method where it's maybe at the bottom of a YouTube page or some other website?
For that, I think we didn't really look into that, but we know that's more like a far off thing. because as for now, we were just thinking about having like videos up for people that already have like our social media, like Instagram, that they can just click on a link to our YouTube channel and just see how our product works. And so right now, the YouTube channel is only just we're just uploading content, and hopefully it spreads that way. But we know that we can do a better job of advertising in the future by actually paying YouTube and having different videos or different pop-ups at other people's videos. So that's definitely something that we're going to be thinking about.
Yeah, in the beginning, I think we also noticed that our numbers were pretty small, but I think we're really open right now to actually the concept of raising that. It was just that I think we were a little bit kind of reluctant on the number because we feel like putting that budget really high would be like dangerous. I don't know. We're trying to focus on free marketing at the moment, like YouTube and Instagram, but we're really open to actually raising the price up.
Where is the price for some of these companies that do have some type of an avatar or fitted mechanism in place already? How much are they charged?
Well, so there's different ways that people can be doing it. Like, let's say a mag belt, which is like a belt with a magnet in it. There's a big range with that. There's like from a lower end, it could be like maybe 30, then up to like maybe even 50 for like a well one. There's also belts that have ridges in them. I know those are more expensive, like maybe around 50 as well. There's, as in the video, there's the hole punch. I guess that's like kind of another solution, just punching a hole in your leather belt. Each of those belt punchers are $20 or so. And for our product, I think that it's good because it doesn't damage the belts, and also it can work on belts that maybe people already have. I know that there's some people that have maybe a collection of belts that they've worn over the years, and just maybe they just grew out of it, or to the point where like the loop just doesn't fall in the right place anymore. So
you feel pretty comfortable with your price point is what I'm saying. Are you?
Our price point, I think that we know about where it is, where it should be, but we're for any advice on further like pricing our product.
The two areas I would really want you guys to think through is a little bit more advertising investment on the front end. And it doesn't need to be huge dollars, but I think some things that more proactively seek your audience and put your solution in front of them before they may even realize they need it would be awesome. The other thing I would throw out there is you've mentioned lots of different colors and different thickness belts and things, and you may need to think about a little bit of a scaled approach, just because once you start having lots of different sizes and colors, you have lots of SKUs, which means now you've got a lot of inventory to manage, which means you've got a lot more capital requirements on the front end. Even though it's fairly inexpensive to produce, you may want to think about having an initial approach on just black and brown and one or two sizes, a large and a small or something along those lines. Just it might make it a little bit more feasible out of the gate. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea for just us starting out. Just make it more efficient.
Otherwise, great idea and great concept. I really liked it, especially being the mom of two sons who probably don't always dress great, but it is a really great idea. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. It's been really helpful.
I think we can all, I think all the straps, at least the guys can appreciate that time where you pulled out some random sharp object and punched a hole in your belt. And I think
girls do that too.
At least eventually for me, you know, these last several years or more, it's been taking the belt the other direction, not necessarily taking it in and putting it out. But great.
We've all been there.
Thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity.
It really has.
In 2016, the National Retail Foundation published a study that found over $260 billion worth of clothing was returned, which is 8% of all purchases made. When customers were asked as to why they returned the item, the overwhelming majority stated a problem with how the garment fit. However, here at Fitted Studio, finding the correct fit for customers while online shopping is our main prerogative. My name is Tyler Famaro.
I'm JD Linhart.
I'm Rowan Fahey.
I'm Carlton Best.
And I'm Phil Odo.
And our goal at Fitted Studio is to improve time efficiency while online shopping, as well as creating a hassle-free way of trying on clothes. Our app takes a virtual scan of your body and produces an avatar of your likeness on your phone. Once the avatar is loaded, the customer will be taken to our online shopping screen, preloaded with clothes from our various retailers. Here, the customer can choose styles, browser recommendations, and purchase from our wide variety of retailers. The customer will also have access to our virtual closet feature, where they can plan out their outfits for the week, or even post their outfit on our Rate My Outfits tab, where they can get feedback from other users as well as our team. Here at Fitted Studio, we are dedicated to improving the online shopping experience, as well as fixing that frustration of finding the perfect fitting clothes.
All right, so this is our BMC, and this is kind of just like the outline of like what our whole presentation is. And we like changed like some stuff with the channels, like social media, and overall it's kind of just stayed the same throughout the whole process.
All right, so our problem is that people hate trying on clothes. Trying on clothes is very time consuming, because you have all these clothes options, like an overabundance of clothes options, and then you keep on throwing like a shirt on with like a different pants, and then the different pants with a different shirt, and then the same shirt with those pants. So it's like it's a lot of work. And then also people have busy schedules, and they don't want to be at the store trying on clothes for an hour to 2 hours or very long time. And then so our solution is our Fitted Studio app, and our app's going to have a scanning technology that provides a virtual avatar with measurements of your body, and you can view how the outfit looks on the virtual avatar without trying it on. And so we're like the middleman in this. So our customers buy from our app, but when they buy the product, it sends you to the supplier or the retailer, and they buy it from the retailer.
So our UVP is our product will like guarantee customers that look and feel their best. And what's so special about our product is that you don't have to try anything on without, like Rowan said before, the problem of just going to the store and hassle, wasting time and money. And it gets rid of all of that with our new scanning technology. And it's just unique towards you with our virtual closet and Rate My Outfit feature as well.
One of our main competitors would be the company Stitch Fix, which is an online clothing app that sends you clothing of their recommendations in order to try on. We set all the measures in. However, they have a bigger focus on women, although they do have some male clothes as options. But another disadvantage to Stitch Fix is the customers don't get to pick out their clothes. They only get what they're recommended by their stylist. So our app, in that way, will give the customers more control. Our other competitor is this women's clothing brand DVF and their website, which does have a similar technique of the avatar in our way, so that you can put clothes on the avatar of your likeness in order to see how that clothing would fit before you even purchase it. However, it's only for the specific clothing brand, and it's only for women's clothes. So our app will have a lot of various retailers from all over the US, just Target and Kohl's and Walmart, preloaded in, so you won't even have to go to their app or choose a different likeness.
Alrighty, when conducting our MVP test, we basically carried out the app's function by hand, where we went to the store with our model, which was our own team member, Tyler. We had him try on clothes, and we sent out how he looked in those outfits to our customer, who was over the phone, in which we were texting him different recommendations and what clothes, the pictures of what the clothes looked like on our model. So we found this, and our customer especially found it to be a useful and easy experience. And the customer said afterwards in a survey sent to him that he would definitely use it again due to the fact that he could do it from the comfort of his very own home.
And then this is our market sizing. So our total addressable market is 21,970,000 people. And that's just the amount of males ages 14 to 24, which is our target market in the United States. And then the SAM is 12,840,000 people, and that number comes from whittling it down to the amount of people with cell phones and access to internet with the cell phone that can download an app in that age range. And then on the market share, what we believe we can get of that SAM is 640,000 people. Then in terms of revenue, we have a subscription-based pricing model, so customers can choose between a $199 monthly rate or a $19.99 yearly rate. Then another source of revenue that we would like to pursue is a partnership with clothing retailers, like we mentioned. We think that retailers would be very interested in putting their clothes on our app so customers can see how it looks on them and therefore be more inclined to buy it. Then our projections are for year 1, 76,000 revenue, year 2, 125,000 in revenue, and year 3, 177,000 revenue. And then our expenses, our startup costs are $105,000, and the biggest chunk of that is just developing the app. And then we don't have COGS because we don't really have tangible resources or materials that we're using to build a product since we're an app. And then our SG&A is $70,000 for year 1 and $60,000 for every year after that. And that includes things like bug fixes for the app, the cost of keeping it on the App Store and Google Play every year, as well as some marketing campaigns that we want to do. And then, so our income projections for year 1, operating profits around $6,000, the net income of $48.20. Year 2 operating profit is a lot higher at $63,860 with a net income of $51,000. And then year 3 operating profit would be around $110,000 with a net income of $87,000.
So for our key metrics, there's a number of different numbers that we're keeping track to basically keep track of not only the success, but also the functionality of our app. So some of the things that we're keeping track of would be the number of subscriptions and downloads. And of those subscriptions and downloads, how many are return users? So how many people are continuing their subscription and finding pleasure in using our app. The quantity of specific items purchased. So this relates to the type of clothes, whether it be how many pants they're ordering or how many shirts. And then the number of partner retailers to see if different big name retailers are interested in partnering with us and expanding basically our fan base of our app. Our exit strategy, we are planning on selling the company to a retail partner that we've been partnering with for a while, 3 to 5 years from now. So we would be gaining a large amount of revenue from this specific partner, as well as we'd also still have at least some input in how the app is going to function. And we figured these retail partners that we've been partnering with in the past would be the best to sell it to, as they would know how the technology is best utilized because they've already been partnering with us for some time. Now, board, it's up to you to make our dreams a reality. We've been working on this app since fall, and we've really been hammering home the idea of making this app an actual tool for people that they can use. So, board, we're asking for $830. And with this $830, we will be creating an actual website domain, which will be around $180. Filing for an LLC application, which will be $150, and a patent application, which will be around $300. Then finally, some of our paid advertising to get our name out there to the public, which we figured we will need roughly $200. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you.
And I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing. One thing I have a question just to kind of start it off is you guys put in an estimate of $100,000 to build the app. And I'm curious, first, did you guys put together an entire layout of what the app would look like? And if you did, is that what you used to go get your estimates as far as a quotation from a programmer to have it done?
I can probably answer that question. The research we went through in order to get that estimate of around $100,000 was based on just average app development of what that costs, just to even get the basics of the app working, just so you can have like a functioning menu, the ability to have like customer service and just like different links on it. That was around the average cost, as well as I believe that integrated the average cost of an AR feature, which is augmented reality, which was kind of the basis of what we were thinking of for the original concept of it being able to show you what it would look like on an avatar.
Okay. And then do you have any idea what the ongoing cost would be to keep the app up to date?
Yeah, I believe it was around, it could have been around like, I think around the middle, I would say about $500 a year to maintain the app, just basic updates and bug fixes.
I think you guys have an interesting kind of chicken and egg challenge going on where in order to get partners, so I think in your presentation, you guys referenced having like clothing design and manufacturers partner with you to really showcase their right? So this whole chicken and egg is, it seems like you're going to have consumers really pull that along in order to get partners interested and excited to work with you. But maybe you know, maybe the partners feel confident that they could help you guys actually drive the consumer adoption. How have you guys kind of thought about that? Like where do you go first? Do you get the consumers to try to drive this behavior? Do you go to the partners first? And maybe within each of those groups, you figured that you would want to prioritize. What would like tactically, what would be the approach to try to generate interest?
I think I can answer that. So basically what we're going to do, we haven't really thought about which one's going to come first necessarily, but we're kind of thinking that our company is going to be the middleman in between the retail partners and the customer themselves. So it's not really a matter of who necessarily we're trying to get first, just because we're focused on our main demographic, which would be younger males right now. Obviously, we're going to expand beyond that, especially with women. I know we talked with Mr. Brilka about that briefly, but I think right now we're really trying to be the middleman in between the customers and the companies. So with the clothes that the retailers are selling, that's going to be what's featured on the app. So it's already kind of targeted to our demographic. So basically how we're going to generate interest from these retail stores is throughout time. We're hoping we can get a few major ones at first. Like I know we've been talking about Kohl's and Target and some of these bigger name brands, which obviously would be difficult, but if we could at least get one of those at first, we're thinking maybe we could, if other retailers saw how successful these retail stores would be because when they see the clothes on the app, when the customers see the clothes from the retail stores on the app, they'll be redirected to the website if they think that looks good and they want to purchase it. So it's basically, we're hoping that we can get one major retail at first, and then the popularity can kind of grow on other retailers as time goes on.
Yeah, mine's kind of you kind of answered it, but one of the things that I took out of it was that your target audience, I'd like you to talk about your target audience. You're saying young males. So one, my question is, what research did you guys do to say it needs to be young males? And then the second thing is have you done research on your major retailer? Like you might get a major retailer, Kohl's, but young males may not buy anything from Kohl's. So what research have you done around that type of stuff? What's a major retailer that you would go to for young males, if that's your target audience? And do you want to mix both?
I think I can answer that. So we haven't done much research on on the the male demographic, the younger males, and what type of store they would go to, technically, but we can conduct more research to find out that demographic on where they would go. And we chose young males because we interviewed around 360 high school male students, and our results came back and they said that I would say around 200, it was about 220 high school young male adults came back and said that they would be interested in this app and they would use that.
Walk me through exactly how they would use it. So would they be in a store, or, in a store virtually, obviously on their website, and then it would say like, see this on you, or would they be on your website first looking for a fit? How exactly would that work logistically?
I think I can answer that. So like, as being like the middleman, we're like, they go to, I think they go to the site first, and they're directed to our site, which then directs them to a site where we could have Kohl's, or we can have Dick's, or like any store that would like sell to like teens. So it would like more like redirect themselves to that website, but while still showing like your fit and like what like generates towards you personally.
So they would go to you first, generate all the fittings and everything,
Yeah.
And then they would go shopping based on their fit and their body type and all.
Yeah. So, I mean, to kind of add, so Carlton, going back to Tim's question earlier, I guess, which we haven't researched, and what Rowan said, I think Dick's Sporting Goods would definitely be something that young males would definitely be interested in. So, which we haven't like necessarily made a plan for that, but Dick's Sporting Goods, there you go. Carlton definitely suggests a nice example. But to add to what Carlton was saying, so they're going to get the measurement on their body, which produces the virtual avatar in the app first. So first they're going to scan their body, which gives you the measurements and suggest these clothes from the retailers. So then you can sift through the options and whether or not that clothing option looks good on you. Then you click on that option and see if it actually fits on you. So you're not just wasting your time when you keep on trying clothes and stuff like that. So once you find the one that you really like, and because you already know the measurement and how it's going to look on you, then you click on that item and it redirects you to the retail website.
Yeah.
Would there be much of a difference of, like, for example, at Dick's, you're going to get a lot of Nike and Adidas and Under Armour. So did you look into any of those things in terms of going direct? Because obviously from a retail perspective, they're probably taking the level of referral that you want for your bottom line. So have you thought about, a direct to consumer situation where, maybe you're going to Nike? I just think about it. I've got a 13-year-old, and if I'm buying something from Kohl's, he's probably not going to wear it, even if it's Nike, right? And so have you thought about, direct relationships with those types of companies?
Question.
You can go, Tyler.
We haven't thought completely towards just going directly to the suppliers of companies such as Target and Kohl's. But we were basing the idea more around how Target does have a lot of different various brands, as well as Kohl's. They have a kind of mixture, which makes it hard to kind of pinpoint what exactly size you are, which makes our app a lot easier for that process for when you are going to places like those. You'll be able to, no matter what the company or brand, you'll be able to see what size of that actually fits you. So to answer your question a little bit more is, we wanted to go more general first instead of pinpointing exact companies that we wanted to be partnering with.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, great job, everybody. Thank you, guys.
Every morning, I get up and I have a tough time getting dressed. I'm almost in college, and the biggest thing I'm worried about is how I'm supposed to put together an outfit without my mom helping me every morning. And it's not because I'm just your average teenager who can't get his clothes together. No, it's because I'm colorblind. In fact, so is my partner Sawyer. And colorblindness is one of those things that's really hard to communicate how I see versus how you guys see. So we thought it might be easier to show you guys. Up here is a picture of a watermelon. Up on the left is a picture of how you guys see. And up here on the right is how I see. Now, it doesn't take more than a second to realize that this can be an issue, especially for kids that are younger. But while I may see like how I see on the right, it doesn't mean I can't tell the difference between red and green. Because while colorblindness may not have a cure, it certainly isn't untreatable. Everybody, I'm Leo.
I'm Gian.
And I'm Steve.
And I'm Sawyer, and we're my color. 1 in 8 men and 1 in 200 women are colorblind. That makes 300 million people worldwide. There's multiple types of colorblindness: deuteranomaly, protanopia, and tritanopia. Deuteranomaly and protanopia are the most common types, and they are red-green colorblindness. And tritanopia, which I have, is a form of yellow-blue colorblindness.
Our solution to colorblindness is the My Color Picture Book, and in the following slides, Leo will explain what it is and how it helps.
So the My Color Picture Book is about 30 pages and goes through multiple categories about how we believe we can help kids differentiate the colors red and green. In the first slide, we have color cues. Color cues are a way to memorize what objects are always red and always green, such as up on the left, how stop signs are always red, and up on the right, how the bottom of stoplights are always green. The next category builds off of the color cue slides. Now these are objects in nature that are both red and green, and these can be difficult for younger kids that have colorblindness because it's hard to tell when a green apple and red apple are different. So by showing them side by side, it helps them differentiate the different shades of brown that they see, and it helps them understand that sometimes things in nature are going to be both red and green, and they'll have to learn the differences. This next slide is kind of more for parents, but also for kids too, and it helps teach kids what colors match with red and green. Up here is our what colors match with green and what colors don't match with green slides. And on the left, we've got green matching with blue, khaki, and gray, and green not matching with red, orange, and purple. And this slide is where we bring everything that they've learned throughout the book together, and we put all of the objects that they've learned and memorized, and we ask them to kind of quiz on it and pick out what's red and what's green by mashing them all together.
For our total addressable market, we got 314 million. We got this from the colorblind people and K through first grade teachers in the world. Our serviceable addressable market is 75,000, and those are the teachers and colorblind kids in the county. And for our market share, we got 7,500, and this is just 10% of our serviceable addressable market.
For our customer segment, we have 3 main customers. We have the teachers, the school administrators, and parents. For teachers and administrators, that's just to get the books in the school to help out the kids when they're learning. And for parents, just something that the kids can do at home.
For our competitors, we're a fairly untapped market. However, we have Uno, which makes a colorblind set of their playing cards. It doesn't help kids learn and overcome the colorblindness by learning color cues. However, it is easier for colorblind children to use. Next, we have Eric the Red Sees Green. This is a book for colorblind awareness. It's a children's book, but again, it doesn't help the children differentiate the color cues. Next, we have Seeing Color. It's My Rainbow 2. It's another book. This one is just a very in-depth about colorblindness, how it affects people, and what it is. Finally, we have the INChroma glasses. These glasses actually help colorblind people to see color. However, of my friends who have used it and tried it, they said either they don't like seeing the color or it just doesn't work for them.
Now, we mentioned before that we're a fairly untapped market, and we understand that it's kind of difficult to imagine that the four of us managed to find a completely new product and market, but we thought it might be helpful to show you guys. Up here is a Google search of what a teacher might look up if they had a colorblind student in their class. How to help kids with colorblindness. The first website that comes up is kidshealth.org, and the first suggestion that they have for a teacher is to write in black and white on the whiteboard. Now, this is hardly a solution and really doesn't address the problem at all. So we thought maybe we'd go into more depth with another Google search. This time we Googled colorblind kids toys. And the first thing that comes up is colorblindawareness.org and their online shop. And if anybody's going to have colorblindness toys, it's going to be colorblindawareness.org. However, when you go into the shop, all they sell are Crayola markers and crayons. So just by looking at the top Google searches of how to help kids with colorblindness, it's clear to see that there really aren't resources out there for teachers. Now for our MVP, this is why it's kind of difficult to do this over video call, because in person, we'd really be able to show you guys the first book that we made and this last book that we made. However, we'll just have to tell you. When we first made our book, we kind of steamrolled through it and got it done really quickly. And when we turned it into Mr. Crispin, pretty much what he told us was that we were going to have to do a little more work and that the book that we had at the moment was not very good. But that book that we had really was a building block for us because we were able to take that book and go do one-on-one teacher interviews. Not trying to sell the book, but trying to sell the idea and see if our book had a place in the classroom for teachers. And after doing about a dozen one-on-one interviews with teachers around the CUSD 200 area, we learned that this book absolutely has a place in the classroom and that teachers do have colorblind kids. However, they don't have resources to help these kids. So after getting information and suggestions from all those teachers, we were able to really come up with a concrete idea of how we wanted the book to look like, how those teachers wanted the book to look like, and how we can make it the most useful resources for colorblind kids in the room. After those 12 teacher interviews, we became pretty confident with how we wanted the book to look like, how the teachers wanted the book to look like, and how we could become the most useful resource in the room for kids with colorblindness. So we really started putting the book together and getting it how we wanted it to be, and we felt pretty confident with it. So with the help of Mr. Crispin, we were able to set up a sales pitch with the principals, vice principals, and school administrators from all 14 of the elementary schools in CUSD 200. We went in there trying to sell our book. However, we didn't make sales, but we came out with a lot of good information with what the principals wanted the book to change and how it would be good for them to be able to buy it. So things we added to the book were colorblind tests for kids to see if they had colorblindness, more paragraphs for parents and teachers to help understand what their kids are seeing with colorblindness and how they can help, and then more slides on how kids with colorblindness see compared to how parents see.
For our marketing strategies, we have an email list that we created by targeting all of the kindergarten and first grade teachers in the DuPage County area. And we collected around 500 emails in total. Another marketing strategy is with Facebook groups and Google AdWords. And the last way we'd like to market is by selling directly to administrators. We think that if we sell to an administrator directly, then they can buy books from us in bulk, and they will have multiple books to put in all of the classrooms at that school district. So this is a picture of all the 500 emails that we collected. It took a few days for us to do that, and the way that we collected them all is by visiting all the websites that had the teachers' emails and copy and pasting them one by one. So these are screenshots of the Facebook groups. There's the colorblind awareness group and a color blindness deficiency awareness group. We can market our book on both of those groups, and more people will hear about the book that way. For our financials, we have a cost of goods sold of $8.81 per book. As you order books in bulk, the price will decrease by a certain percent. For our gross profit margin, it is 65%, and we'll be selling the book at $25 per book. For our SG&A costs, we have website hosting and the marketing costs, but that won't really be that much of money compared to the inventory costs. And the startup costs, we just have the copyright for the book, as well as the website hosting, and of course the inventory. For our financial projections, the first year we estimated that we would make $75,000 in sales, and the second year it would increase by 120%, and the third year by 60%, finally getting us to $264,000. So this is a slide showing the inventory prices decreasing as you order in bulk. So we would plan to order maybe around 500 books and save 50% of $8.81 if we did that. And we would also use targeted marketing ads if we got funding money.
Now for the near future, we would want to target the end of July for selling these books to teachers, because at the end of July, that is when the budgets become available for a lot of teachers and they'll actually be able to purchase books. And this will be part of the same getting into the schools that our goal is too. A little further, we'll want to expand out of this USD 200 area into all of Illinois and to even further, and also hopefully sell in bulk to administrators. And then even further down the line, we'd be looking at new products for kids with color blindness and other ways we can help teach kids how to differentiate colors better. Thank you.
First off, on behalf of all the Sharks, I want to say congratulations to all of you. I think you took an issue, and I know you took an issue that was important to all of you, that some of you, I think 2 of you are colorblind, and I mean, it was amazing what you did with that issue and bringing it to the forefront, and also making it something that educates not only adults, but allows those adults to help the kids in their lives, whether it be their own children or their students. So great job. I thought it was a great idea from the start when I saw you at the beginning of the year, and I think it was a really great concept. I like that you talked to administrators and teachers, and I just wanted to see from your conversations with administrators, how did those go as far as them willing to make purchases? I know you said that they were interested. Just tell us a little bit more about that conversation, and then also how you arrived at your $25 mark. I'm just always kind of interested to know, I think it was an $8 cost of goods, but are other educational books around that, you know, that are specialized in that price range? How'd you come up with it? And anybody can answer.
Yeah, I will. So for our meetings with the administrators, they went really well. Like you said, they really liked the idea and like the idea that we had with the book and all that. And one of the issues that, one of the things that they wanted to change or add on with the book at the time was for it to be more helpful for parents and teachers. So it's more collaborative with them so that they can understand better how kids with colorblindness see. So that was what we added with like the colorblind tests and more paragraphs with like how I would see versus how you guys would see. So we added about 4 pages of that to the book for more teachers and parents. And then for the price point, we chose $25 because really it was value-based pricing, because the book that we're ordering is a nice hardcover book, and it's big. It's about if you turn like a piece of paper horizontal, it's about that big in hardcover. So it's a good quality book. And so like a regular children's book that's hardcover like that would go to about $10 to $15. And along with the value of it being for kids with color blindness, and that you would only be getting one for a classroom, we upped it for $25. And in comparison, one of the competitors that we showed, the rainbow book for kids with color blindness, that was up at $45. Okay. So the value is there, and that's what we were basing it off of.
Great. Leave it open to everyone else for questions. Thank you.
I'm curious to know, you said it's going to be hardcover and printed. Do you have a company to print them? Have you printed any? You talked about having a copy. Can you sort of elaborate on that?
Yeah, so what we did right before we got out of school and things kind of got confusing, we went through an approval process with Barnes and Noble. So we set up our book to be on Google Slides and to be set up with a PDF and all that. So we sent out the PDF over to we shipped it, or didn't ship it, we emailed it to Barnes and Noble, and they have a 24 to 48 hour approval process that we went through. And I'm not exactly sure what they do on their end, but I'm sure it's just confirming that everything looks good with the book and all that, and it's acceptable to have their brand on it. So we'd be ordering our book through them, and then we'd be able to sell it just through ourselves.
Wonderful. That's great.
With kind of going after the administrators is obviously buying the books. The hardcover sounds like a really beautiful book. Has there been any thought to an online book with more and more schools, especially the younger kids, going to tablets and things like that? Has there been any thought of something like that?
Yeah, we were looking into moving into like online stuff like that, but we really wanted to stick with, at least for just right now, like a lean business model. And if like staying hardcover and staying like physical with the book really brought down the price tremendously. It's far cheaper than trying to figure out how to move into like being on screens with that. And along with like color blindness, like as far as the way it works, it's much harder to explain how it works or show how it works through like a screen rather than like on physical paper.
Hey guys, good to see you again. I've had a chance to see at the MVP stage as well, and it's really cool to see how far this has come, so congrats. You talked a little bit about having, if I'm not mistaken, having already built out a bit of an email list. I wanted to visit with you on that a little bit. So it seems like you pulled those off of district websites primarily is how you've been gathering those, is that correct?
Yeah, through all the school websites and all that.
Okay, so one thing I just want to make you guys aware of is, has anybody talked to you guys about canned spam laws with email and marketing?
No, they have not.
So you have to be a little bit careful and try and drive people to opt in to hear from you. Because if you don't, you can be labeled as a spam creator, and it'll create a lot of issues about trying to get outbound communications out later on. So one of the things I would recommend you guys think about a little bit would be something like a HubSpot platform, which would allow you to kind of create email campaign and direct marketing campaigns. And it automatically helps you build that opt-in list. And you can do some things within there around targeting as well. So you can actually target people based on being like school administrators and involved in some of those types of things.
Thank you. That's definitely just something we didn't think about. Thank you.
One question I did not write down that just came into my mind is, did you guys by chance have an opportunity to speak with anyone else that's ever published or written or has been involved in the deployment of a children's book? I mean, I know there's some like local publishers, even here in Wheaton. Is that something you guys were able to take advantage of?
Actually, my parents are friends with a few authors, I guess you would say, that have published a few of their own books through some Christian publishers. So like Tyndale House is in Carroll Stream, that's like right near Wheaton. And after talking to them, I think we decided that it would be better to self-publish, because that way we don't have to deal with the publishers taking 1% of our profits and all that. And the first couple of years anyway, we would only be selling a few books, so it'd be easier to manage everything in-house.
That's great. And then just to kind of piggyback on your presentation in its entirety, what's your guys' ask, right? So you're sitting in front of a bunch of sharks that, you know, are interested. You were one of 6 teams that got put through to this point. But I don't know that I really was able to discern from your presentation, what's your ask? You know, like, or is this thing so viable and non-capitally intense that you don't need any outside investment to bring this thing to life and go win?
Well, I think we didn't really put a number up there just because we weren't exactly sure with the presentation, but we absolutely think that we would need a capital or some type of investment, because just to be able to build our inventory like that and being able to have all those books on hand is something that's just like, it would be very nice for us to have that, just so it would be easier to sell the books in bulk. And if we have that money to buy the books right away, we would be able to get the discounts on the books. So the more money we have to buy the books like during one time, the cheaper it would actually be to buy more of them.
Do you guys talk at all about trying to get like a pre-order commitment? You got, 500 teachers. I mean, I saw data. I think there's 580,000 preschool teachers in the U.S. So did you guys talk amongst yourselves about some sort of a pre-order, or maybe not pre-order, but like some commitment to order that would help you get some concepts around your numbers and volumes that you could then take to a printer?
At least for the first few teachers that we've already talked to, we were kind of wanting to show them the physical book, like before they confirm they want to buy anything, and then see like how they like the book in like physical form, and then we'd go from selling to more teachers from there.
Might be an interesting addition to your TAM and SAM. Maybe optometrists or ophthalmologists would be interested in buying these things, and almost giving them away to young patients, just as a kind of a giveaway or a learning mechanism for parents.
Or even just in their waiting rooms.
Yeah, that's right.
We're glad you all didn't learn when you started driving.
Oh, nice job, guys. This is really, really cool.
Nice job. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job,
Good luck.
everybody.
It's estimated that about 40 billion plastic utensils are produced each year, and according to the Clean Air Act, that is enough plastic utensils to circle the Earth 300 times. And unfortunately, there are many people who don't think they can do anything to help. Well, my name is Missy, and this is Grace, and we're with Clean Cut Utensils. We want there to be an easy way to say no to using plastic. Because plastic utensils are used and then thrown away, harming the environment. Because plastic never actually breaks down. It can end up in our oceans, harming marine life, or in landfills where they never actually break down or release harmful chemicals into our water. Our company will provide businesses with an alternative option. Our cutlery is made out of recycled plastic and has a biodegradable additive that makes it fully biodegradable. Compared to other biodegradable utensils, our utensils are more affordable because we recognize that restaurants may not want to pay extra just for a biodegradable utensil. We promise to deliver eco-friendly utensils that will make saving the earth simple and easy. By choosing our utensils over regular plastic ones, you can give out a utensil to every customer knowing you won't be harming the planet. Not only that, but customers won't have to feel guilty about using a utensil once and then just throwing it away. If you choose to invest in our company, you can help spread the word about plastic pollution and feel good about the fact that you're doing something to help save the earth.
So as we said, the problem we're trying to address is that restaurants use many plastic utensils every single day, and then they're thrown out into the environment where they don't break down and they pollute our waterways and oceans. So our solution is to create a biodegradable utensil to sell to restaurants, and instead of plastic utensils, they will distribute our utensils, which can break down in the environment, unlike the plastic ones, reducing the amount of plastic in our environment. And my name is Grace. I'm the CFO of Clean Cut.
And my name is Missy, and I'm the CEO of Clean Cut. So the impact of plastic utensils. This is something that's really important to us and is what started our business in the first place. So plastic utensils contain a lot of chemical contaminants that can lead to the extinction of some species, and it endangers wildlife. It also has a high carbon footprint, meaning that a lot of the energy and carbon that's emitted during their production leads to the addition of heat and carbon to the atmosphere. It also fills up in landfills. The use of plastic cutlery leads to the massive disposal of plastics, and since there's no proper way to dispose of them, it fills up the landfills. Or sometimes they don't even end up in landfills, and it just causes pollution because More than half of the plastic used is thrown away without being considered for recycling or being put to other uses.
So our unique value proposition will be to create a utensil that is an easy way to minimize the amount of single-use plastic pollution in our environment, which will hopefully counteract the current use of disposable plastic, because we will be replacing the plastic utensils that restaurants are distributing currently with our biodegradable utensils. They will be made out of recycled plastic and with a biodegradable additive, which allows them to break down quickly into the environment without causing pollution.
So how our product is made, we take a recycled polypropylene pellets that are melted down to a mold. These pellets are recycled plastic that were melted down into pellets, and we will be purchasing them to melt them down into a mold. And then we add a titanium dioxide colorant, because the plastic could be from anywhere and it could be multiple different colors, so we want them to be white. And then we add a biodegradable additive that makes them fully biodegradable.
So our cost of goods sold will include the things that will be going into the utensils, which include the recycled plastic pellets, which we'll be getting from Alibaba, the biodegradable additive, which comes from a company that creates special biodegradable additives for different types of plastic called Biosphere, and then the titanium dioxide colorant will also come from Alibaba. So in all, the cost to produce a box of 1,000 will be $8.40. So we'll be selling them for $15.99 to the restaurants, and this is within $1 of how much restaurants are currently paying for plastic utensils, so it will still be a very competitive price, but we believe that restaurants will pay that extra $1 because of the value added, that they're eco-friendly, and we think that they will see this as a good reason to spend a little more on their utensils.
So for our MVP, we bought a set of 2,000 biodegradable utensils, and we gave it to 2 different restaurants to use and give to their customers. And then we also put up a sign in those restaurants for customer feedback. And because of the coronavirus, unfortunately, it was cut short. So we didn't get as many responses because those restaurants ended up closing soon after. But we were able to get a few responses, and they all had positive feedback because 90% of the people who took the survey cared that the utensils were biodegradable, and also 100% of the customers said that they would pay extra for the utensils, which is another thing we'll be including when marketing to restaurants, because we can tell them that people are willing to add a little extra to their order to pay for the utensils.
So when calculating our serviceable addressable market, we looked at the number of independent restaurants in Illinois, since we believe that those will be the easiest ones to talk to directly, which is our way of getting in contact with these restaurants.
Go ahead.
So to calculate our serviceable addressable market, we looked at the number of independent restaurants in Illinois, because we wanted to do independent restaurants so we don't have to go through a corporate. So it came down to 45,083 independent restaurants in Illinois, which creates a revenue of $1,352,501.
For our marketing strategy, we want to directly communicate with restaurant owners. In the past, that has worked really well for us. For our MVP, we talked to Kimmer's and to County Farm Bagels, both in Wheaton, and we just went into the restaurant and talked to the managers, and they were on board. And so we found that it was easy just to talk directly with them. We also will be getting revenue from restaurant suppliers. We want to contact restaurant suppliers such as Cisco and see if they would sell our utensils on their websites.
So our financial projections for the first 3 years are listed here. So in the first year, we hope to have 10 restaurants added to our current 5. And then in year 2, we hope to get 10 more, which would be 25 restaurants. And then year 3, another 10, coming out to 35 restaurants. And so this is just a bar chart of our financial projections showing the revenue, gross profit, and net income for the first 3 years. And then we will be asking for $27,165 today, which will cover our startup costs and the cost to create an initial stock of 500 boxes or 500,000 utensils, which will last us about 6 months, and the cost to rent an injection mold to create those utensils. And so in exchange for the $27,165, we propose a 25% ownership in our company based on a post-money valuation of $108,662.40.
So moving forward, we really want to set up a fully functioning website and also get a presence on social media so we can start advertising our utensils. We want to make a prototype for our utensils and talk directly with restaurants because, as we said, this in the past has helped us to get restaurants to work with us, and then we can get them on board switching over to our utensils. We, as a team, really look forward to expanding our business, and thank you.
Grace and Missy, thanks for joining us today. Congratulations on making the final cut. And we're excited to hear all the things you guys have to say. First thing we want to tell you is just relax. Just like let it flow. Just answer our questions. And we look forward to going through this with you. My first question in going through your presentation was when I looked at your MVP and kind of your research. You got a lot of people that agreed that they would use biodegradable utensils, but did you talk to them about the difference between the different types of biodegradable stuff, like the paper compared to the stuff that you guys were talking about?
We did not talk to the customers because we had the customers fill out a survey like when we were not at the restaurant. So we didn't actually talk to customers about different kinds of biodegradable utensils, but we have done our own research.
Okay, and when you looked at your when you guys kind of extended out your cost, take us through kind of how you came up with the cost, the research you did there.
So we went through we looked at plastic utensils and how those are made and the process in that. And so we were looking at specifically polypropylene plastics because those are what are usually utensils are usually made out of. And those are pretty sturdy, but they're not too sturdy, so that's what they usually come out of. And then we were looking to get our things from Alibaba, so that's where we got the costs for the pellets and the dioxide, the colorant. And then the additive is from Biosphere because that's one of the most reputable places we found our additive from. We were trying to look and see what kinds were out there, and that looked like the best one for the materials we would be using. So we couldn't make an actual product yet, but we just estimated the cost based on cost per utensil.
And how did that compare to the market of the current stuff that's out there?
So we were looking, it's been kind of hard to get one price because restaurants buy them for cheaper from suppliers, and then you have to go through the supplier because they don't give you a price on their website. But we talked to several restaurants and they gave us an estimate, and so our cost is $15.99, which would be within $1 or $2 of recycled plastics, and then we think that that would be close enough that they would think the added value of the recycled plastic and biodegradable additive being eco-friendly would be enough to pay an extra cost. And when we talked to the restaurants, they said that they would be willing to pay a little more for that extra value since their customers did respond so positively to that.
All right, thanks. Sharks?
You guys have the benefit of having done all this research about the biodegradability, if that's even a word, I maybe I just made that up, of this additive being used in the creation of the plastics. Can you share any maybe of that learning or validating data around how long does it take for this stuff to degrade? What's the success rate of that particular additive, versus others? It just, I don't know about anyone else, but I've always, as I watched your presentation, actually watched it twice, I just kept kind of scratching my head wondering, like, is it really that simple? Is it just some fairy dust that you sprinkle in the manufacturing of these things? And so, like, yeah, do you have any data points or validation that you could share with us about that?
Yeah, sure. So we did look around a lot at different biodegradable additives, and this one that we chose was, it says 6 to 8 months. That's the timeline for it to break down, which is pretty quick compared to other ones. Other ones are around the same time, but it's pretty quick. And then it does, like, it needs certain environmental things like water or like different like soil pHs and stuff like that to break down, but those are like common in most environments. So in most environments, it would break down completely.
Any effect of like saliva or ingesting? Does this change the properties of these plastics if you're going to be using them as a utensil? I mean, I know it's kind of a dumb question probably, but I was just curious if you had any info on that too.
Yeah, no, we didn't get any feedback on that specifically, but we did include like in utensil / pellet testing in our startup costs, because we wanted to make a prototype to see how those, like, how they stood up to different environments and different things like saliva, or like how they broke down. So we did want to test that. So we did put that into our startup costs. So we're not sure yet, but we're going to find out.
I love the idea of what you've done, and I certainly love the research you've done, and your slides were great. But my question is just a common one of how sturdy are they? You get these forks, knives, and spoons that are biodegradable and they break or they fall apart. And I wondered if you had any clue as to how sturdy yours would turn out to be.
So ours are made of that specific type of plastic that we looked into, because there are several types, and then there are 2 types that people generally use for utensils, and the polypropylene is the sturdier of the 2, so that's why we went with that one. And we know restaurants don't want them to break because people will be using them for different types of food. Like we talked to a restaurant that would be using them for things like steak and like pasta, stuff like that. So we wanted them to be pretty durable. We haven't tested them yet since we don't actually have a product yet, but we were trying to use the sturdiest plastic we could find that would also be still pretty cheap to use, so that we don't have to make the price too high.
I love the product. So in looking at your numbers, I believe you said your costs were around $8 and your sell was $15.99. Now that's if you're only selling direct, right, to restaurants. Did you take into consideration that the restaurants purchase through distributors? So there's another middleman in there to take some margins away from you.
We didn't. We were planning on keeping the price the same. We aren't completely sure on like what the price for how much they sell biodegradable utensils for, since it's not on their website. So we were just planning on keeping it that same price.
This is more just of a comment on the price, similar to where Rob was. If the competitors you said are about $1 or $2 more, and their products are not more environmentally friendly, it might make sense to actually kind of match their price so you get some more visibility and some more penetration. So the restaurants are actually not paying more money initially up front and actually realize that the product is actually better for the environment and whatnot. Just a thought.
Yeah, so ours are $1 or $2 more than the normal plastic utensils. So we weren't really sure how much restaurants would be willing to pay compared to their plastic utensils. We did talk to the ones we used for our MVP, and they said within $1 or two. So we went with that initially. But if it turns out that people are willing to pay like less or more, then we could raise that to make it more profitable for us.
Hey guys, so really nice job with the presentation, and loved how much research that you guys had done, and number of different people that you talked to ahead of time to kind of understand the value proposition. I guess one of the questions I had was, to Jay's point of, if it's just this easy of sprinkling this product or this compound into the manufacturing process, I guess one of the questions I have for you guys is, what are your thoughts around if you get this up and running and it starts to take hold? Have you thought about what you'll do to kind of keep competition at bay? So in other words, try and keep other people from just starting to come after what you guys have done and offer the same product at the same price or even a little bit less.
Sorry, Missy's frozen, so I'll take it again. But yeah, we did consider that, and there are biodegradable utensils out there. So the thing that makes us different is we're going directly to restaurants instead of the ones that are out there. They're being sold to individual people in like stores and stuff like that. So we chose to go directly to restaurants, and then we're different because we're going into the restaurants, and we chose to do independent restaurants because we wanted to make a relationship with the people who are our customers, because we thought that would keep them pretty loyal. And if we had a relationship with them, then we could communicate with them about like what's going on and how they're feeling about our utensils and get some feedback as well. So I think the personal relationship would help with that, keeping our customers, the ones we already have, and having them communicate with other restaurant owners to get more customers. That was our plan with the personal in-person sales.
I'll call you guys out on two really good things too. Like you were one of the few groups that talked about post-money valuation in your ask. So great job on that, by the way. And the other is you guys weren't afraid to go out and talk to restaurant owners. And those aren't always necessarily the easiest business owners to talk to, but like the power of not having any fear or preconceived notions, just to get out there, pick up the phone or like that in itself, not asking any questions, has prohibited so many businesses from even getting started. So just really, really good job on that. You can learn so much in those conversations.
Thank you.
Great job, ladies.
Good job.
Thank you. It was great. Thank you.
Great job.
Really good.
Really good.
$56 million. That's the amount of people in the United States who have phones that can wirelessly charge. In our own city of Chicago, survey data shows that most people charge their phones regularly and twice a day. But the same data reports that 99.3% of people say that their phones dies during the day and also regularly. This causes them to miss that perfect family photo or that important business call. So why don't people get portable chargers? Just one look at the current portable chargers paints the entire picture. Bulky, inconvenient, and unnecessary charge capacity. Our solution is the Charge Card, a slim, sleek, wireless portable charger that will fast charge your phone back to 100%. With Charge Card, you'll never have to worry about your phone dying again.
Let me introduce you to my team. My name is Aisha.
I'm Melanie.
I'm Teddy.
And I'm Ben.
And we're Team Charge.
So, what's the problem we're trying to solve? The problem is that number doesn't stay at 100%. By the middle of the day, you're at 50%, 20%. Sometimes your phone's even dead. And that's a huge problem. You can't call an Uber, can't use certain forms of payment. And in this day and age, you need your phone for everything. So, what's the solution? The solution is the Charge Card.
Today, we're introducing you to the Charge Card, a brand new charging solution. The Charge Card is simple, elegant, and wireless, perfect for charging on the go. We came up with the idea when we talked with friends and family and realized how many people have the problem every day of their phone dying. After disassembling an iPhone and buying some wireless charging components online, I discovered it's possible to fit an entire wireless charging solution inside a form factor this small. The Charge Card will feature a 2,700 milliamp hour battery capable of charging your phone back to 100%. It'll also feature a 10-watt wireless charging coil capable of fast charging your phone. USB-C and LED indicators are included to make the experience as seamless as possible. Simply place the Charge Card on the table and your phone on top of it, and wireless charging will begin. With the Charge Card, never worry about your phone dying again.
So, who are we going to market this to? Our main customers are students. Students use their phone throughout the whole day, don't have much time to charge, and have after-school activities. Also, people on the go. People on the go often don't have time to stop and plug their phone in and would need a product like the Charge. Also, just phone users in general. Over 90% of the people we interviewed said they often have the problem of their phone dying.
Our two biggest competitors are Samsung and Mophie. They both provide a way to charge your phone, however, they are extremely bulky and very expensive. The Charge Card differs greatly from our competitors. It is it's 6 millimeters thin, which allows it to easily slip into a pocket, purse, or even. For the price of $30, the Charge Card can give the user a fast charge and a wireless experience.
Here are our MVP tests and results. The most important part was the first step, which is to develop a prototype. Then we also built a market plan. And finally, we created a website.
To develop our prototype, we 3D printed a case and also designed a printed PCB board. We did this by contacting somebody on Fiverr who was able to do the electrical engineering necessary to route the power from the port to the coil and also to the battery that we had put. After we had done this, we were able to create our first prototype. And here is a drawing of the PCB board that was designed for our product. And this was a custom board made for us that we had printed and shipped to us as well.
The next step was our MVP was our market plan. So the way we were going to do this was starting with an awareness campaign. And we were going to start with social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In the first week, we hope to get 150 followers on our social media platforms. In the second week, 250 followers, and in the third, 350. Then we also have promotion posts that would be posted daily. And the goal is to get at least 50 likes on each post and at least 100 impressions. Then finally, the most important part about our market plan is to have a survey link which acts as our pre-order list. So this would be for people who are interested in the Charge Card and would be willing to buy it once it's created. Here are some examples of what we would post for our promotion posts. And here's a web plan of what our business market plan would look like. Currently, our pop-up stores won't be available due to COVID-19, but we will still have an online presence through Amazon and our social media platforms.
Here is the homepage of our website.
We decided to go with a value-based pricing model. We came upon this decision after we interviewed people and found that about 70% of people we interviewed would pay $30 or more for this product, which gave us the price point of $30 for the Charge.
For our marketing, we have found that 5.3 billion people have cell phone users around the world. From this, we developed a total addressable market of 56 million cell phone users in the US who have wireless charging capabilities. We found a serviceable addressable market of 24 million people who we can market our product to because they are willing to buy our Charge Card for $30. We decided that we were going to go for a market share of 2,000 people, hoping to reach that by the end of our 3 years. For a 3-year sales forecast, we have 550 units sold in our first year and 2,100 units sold in our third year, reaching our market share by a third year. Growing each year. Each year we grow exponentially from our first year to our second year, 120%, from our second year to our third year, 80%, based on the average growth of a startup company. We also have a cost of goods sold. For a single unit cost, we have $7.22 to make one charge card, with the battery being the most essential and expensive component, being $4.
For our SG&A total costs, we have $3,232, and the bulk of that is coming from the amount of money we are going to have to pay the electrical engineer to assemble the charge card, which will be around $1,000.
For our startup costs, we have a total of $1,622. This mostly comes from the process of starting manufacturing, assembling, getting a patent, and then just other development.
So our next steps include finalizing a prototype, which is simply to order a wireless charger and reverse engineer it so we can know what the process is like, and then to continue to work with Kenzie Mudge, who is a battery engineer and will help us for free on building our prototype. Then we also want to invest in a design patent. We've already spoken to a patent attorney, so we only have to begin the process and we will be on our way. And finally, we will just simply continue to develop our business model so that we can be off and going on our way. Thomas Edison once said, "There's a way to do it better. Find it." Well, we believe that charge card is the better way. Thank you.
Guys, this is Jay. So first off, just super proud of you guys. A huge congrats for getting here into the final six, and that's no easy feat. There was, I think, some pretty stiff competition this year. So just congrats, you guys. We've all, I know, enjoyed watching your presentations and the fact that you took the energy to put a second iteration of that. Great job, your level of commitment and just how serious you guys are taking this. It's shining through. So great job. So I want to kick off. I took a lot of notes about your presentation, and I got a lot of different questions I could ask. But so one that really sticks out to me, though, is this whole concept of how you intend to distribute and gain velocity with this product. And all the folks on this call, the Sharks, either own or operate various types of businesses. And I keep finding myself wondering, like, I don't view myself as an individual consumer, but yet your product seems so applicable to something that I would want to buy a quantity of to give to all my employees, or potentially to give to all of my customers or some subset of my customers. And I'm wondering, like, did you think about that? And if you did, why did you kind of choose that from your TAM and SAM?
So we did think a lot about the marketability of our product, especially, I don't know if you can see the charge card, but the way that we designed it was in a way that we also thought about different companies putting their logo also on the charge card if it was used for commercial use. But that's also how we looked into our TAM and SAM, and because we found that a lot of people know that this is a product that they can use daily, that they can use throughout their whole day, and they can also continue to use it on the go and as they through their company as a marketing tool. So that was really big for us. So we made it so that we could also use the space to continue and partner with different companies.
I'd also quickly like to add our distribution method would be simple through our factories, which we'll pay for and rent. So those would manufacture the actual charge card in theory, and then through Amazon, they would actually order it to themselves. So we wouldn't have to deal with ordering it to us and then ordering it or shipping it out to our clients. Rather, they'll just get them directly from the company.
Yeah, I had a question on the size. So I can see that we've actually, my company has given this out a lot as gifts to a lot of our clients. We've had round ones, we've had square ones, we've had all different sized ones. What I liked about this one was it was thin, and I could put a logo on there. So I think that's a good thing. My question to you is, when you started thinking about the packaging of this, I could see a woman putting it in her purse or some other bag or something like that. But where would men be able to put this in their wallet?
Here you can see I have one of our charge card mock-ups. This is 3D printed. I designed it to the specifications that we had from the components. So you can see it's very thin. I like to carry a really thin wallet around with me because I don't like to have something bulky in my pocket. So you can see I have this really thin wallet. And it actually can just easily fit right in the side of the wallet, just like that. And it still easily fits in a pocket.
Great.
So first of all, congratulations. I was curious, so do you guys have I couldn't quite tell from the video, do you guys have a working prototype at this point that actually charges? Or, because I know you've got some 3D printed samples that show size and how everything looks and fits and everything, but I was just curious if you had something functioning yet.
Yeah, so what we currently have, the mock-up that we currently have, has all of the components that we need to make our final prototype. But the way that we are using it right now, we have to make some of the final connections using the PCB board and soldering that together. So that's kind of what we need some of the money for, is to get an engineer to do some of those final connections. The current prototype that we have, you can fully use if it's plugged into a wall, like a regular wireless charger. And then those final connections will allow the battery, the connector cable, and the coil for the wireless charging to all work together seamlessly so that we won't need to have it plugged in continuously.
Gotcha.
Will it completely charge a dead iPhone?
So it does depend on the iPhone. The older iPhones are going to have smaller batteries. The newer ones have larger ones.
Right.
So the battery that we are going to use in the charge card is going to be around a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. Okay. So that will charge any of the iPhones from 2 years or before over a full charge. And then any of the new iPhones, it would be like 70+% charge on those.
And then how long does it take to charge it?
So it would be 10-watt fast charging. So it would take about the same amount of time as if you were plugging it into a wall.
Got it. Okay.
Who gave you all those specifications? I know you did the prototype, but were you, you sound very sure, 70% and 100%. Who told you that it would work that way? Is it from research, or is it, just explain that a little bit more for us.
Yeah, so we did a lot of research going into this when we were just coming up with the idea on how wireless charging works and all of that. So you do lose about 10% of the battery capacity to heat as you're wirelessly charging because it's not a perfect connection. And then it's just based off of the milliamp size of the battery. So obviously the bigger battery that you have in the charge card, the more it's going to be able to charge another phone. So like the new iPhones have a little over a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, and then the battery in the charge card would be around 3,000 milliamp
hours. You mentioned that Samsung and Mophie were your competitors. I'm assuming you're going to be re-engineering that product. Is there any fear of any kind of patent infringements when you're kind of looking at those products?
Yeah, so we do have, currently we've been working with a patent attorney, so we met with a patent attorney to speak about the possible design patent that we could get for our business so that our business has some value to it and is protected from bigger companies like that. So we did speak to a patent attorney. We understand that it can cost up to a couple $1,000s, so it can be very, very expensive. But we realized that through his knowledge and experience, he told us that we can actually apply independently. It is not recommended, but if you look into it and put a lot of time and effort, it is doable. So the only reason we're going to do it independently is because it's more affordable, but it will be a little bit time consuming. So if we do get money, we might invest into a patent attorney so that they can help us through this whole filing process. And in that way, we'll be protected from Samsung and Mophie or bigger companies who are ready to, steal our idea or just, take it, and we won't be protected at all. So that way we'll have some form of protection.
Perfect. Demagnetizing credit cards. Have you done any research on that? Obviously it's going to be close to the wallet. Is this a technology that would have any impact on that?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So it's actually using phone components, the same components that are in the Pixel phone. So it wouldn't have any effect on demagnetizing credit cards or anything like that. It doesn't have any magnetic components in it. And it would be like the same as putting your phone and your wallet in the same pocket, and there's no problem there.
And then you guys listed Mophie and Samsung as direct competitors. Why did you elect to not include any of the, I don't know if you'd classify them as indirect competitors or not, but there was one in particular called Clutch. I don't know if you guys looked at Clutch or not, but very, very similar profile, thin, fits in your wallet, but it's a corded charger, so it does have this little like retractable cord. So what was the rationale in not including some of those indirect competitors in the presentation?
Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit. So obviously there's a lot of companies that make portable chargers, and there's a lot of different types of portable chargers. We think that the unique value of our product is the three things tied together: the size, the amount of charge that it gives, and the wireless charging capabilities. Something that's really annoying is just always having to carry either a cable with you, a big bulky power bank. And we talked to people, we did surveys with over 100 people, and a lot of people, they don't need a ton of extra charge during the day. They don't need a massive 2,000 milliamp battery to carry around with them. They just need an extra 20%, an extra 50% to get them through their day. And so that's why we went with the size that we went with, and the just ease of not having to carry anything else with you. You just have the charge card, you put it on a table, you put your phone on top of it, and your phone's charging. It's that simple. Put it back in your wallet, put it in your pocket. You don't even have to think about it, and you just always have it with you. So that's kind of the unique value of ours. And we do understand that there's a lot of competition, but also based off of those surveys, when we showed people what our product was able to do, almost everyone had that same response that Rob had, was like, when can I buy one of these? When can I get one of these? A lot of people know that wireless chargers are on the market and portable chargers are on the market, but we believe that this is something that combines those two things in a way that's new and unique and that people would really value.
How long does it take to charge the charger?
Yeah, so that would be the same as charging a phone, and it would come with an 18-watt charging brick, so it would be like fast charging a current smartphone. It would be about 2 hours. What we imagine people would do is they take it home with them, they plug it in at their nightstand or whatever, put their phone on top of it, so it's charging and it's also wirelessly charging their phone. They wake up in the morning, they grab their phone is charged, they grab the charge card, that's charged, they're ready to go for the rest of the day.
That's a really important point. I would, and for future iterations, include that in your presentation. Like that in itself, super important, high impact. At least, like I had an emotional response to it. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's great.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
It was awesome.
All right, imagine this. You're the parent of an involved high school athlete who's extremely competitive about their sport. They want to stand out and be the best athlete that they can. So after working for hours at every grueling practice, they're going to be in need of some serious replenishment. So they go to the fridge and grab a sugary sports drink that you bought for them earlier that week. Now it's going to taste great, but the problem with this is that there's artificial dyes, sugars, and chemicals that an article by Healthline.com have detailed these to be attributed to such side effects as sugar crashes, heart disease, acne, diabetes, and even cancer. So we're Charge, and we have the solution for you. We've created a sports drink with no artificial dyes or added sugars that taste great. We add value to both high school athletes and the parents of those high school athletes by providing safe, healthy, and efficient recovery with a drink that they can feel confident consuming.
Hi, my name's Claudia Jansen. This is Brooke Siebert, Nick Walker, DJ Almada, and Jake Fow, and we're the team behind Charge.
The problem with these new leading brand sports drinks is that they have too many dyes and chemicals known as sucrose acetate isobutyrate and brominated vegetable oil, which are found to be in Gatorade, and these are toxic to humans as well as flame retardant. Another problem is that they have too many added sugars. Powerade has a sweetener known as aspartame, as well as Gatorade having the potential to lead to diabetes, kidney damage, and tooth enamel erosion, and can add to the growing number of overweight children, according to rucore.edu. And also, when we interview people in our problem interviews, we found that they experience lots of stomach aches and sugar crashes after they drink Gatorade and Powerade. And our solution is it has no harmful chemicals, no artificial dyes, and no added sugars to provide high school athletes with healthy and efficient recovery. Our ingredients are based on coconut water. It has the electrolytes of sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, as well as natural fruit juice, calcium, magnesium citrate, stevia, and lemon juice. And we were originally going to sample our beverage, but instead we made a video of those who tried it during our MVP.
What's going on, guys? I'm here to talk to you about Charge.
I think having such a simple list of ingredients is something that, you know, nowadays a lot of people are really looking towards. A lot of ingredients that you can pronounce is very important. Having no sugar is really important too. You know, Gatorade tastes great, but it has such high sugar, it almost doesn't seem like it's worth it.
Something that is frustrating with the current sports drinks found on the market is you think you're drinking something that's supposed to be good for you and you check the product label and there's 28 grams of sugar in it.
I tried Charge back in the spring at a track practice. It was a cardio day that day, so, you know, we were pretty gassed from running.
My experience with Charge, and I think the experience of everybody at the track team, was actually really nice when they brought it into the MVP experience.
We look over at one of the side doors in the field house and we see people trying to like bring in this massive jug of something in through one of the side doors. And so Charge is pretty hyped up in our school, I'm not gonna lie. And so a bunch of our guys go over there to try some of it. And for almost everyone who tried it, they really liked it. They liked that it not only tasted great, but it energized them for the rest of the practice.
The taste was great. We had the mango flavor. I felt better running at the track practice. Everyone was surprised when they saw the label, no sugar in it.
And that's what sets Charge apart from the competition. You can feel great drinking Charge, and you can feel great knowing that Charge is good for you.
I think could be big in the future. I think there's not a lot of sports drinks around in the market that, you know, hit this niche for being super healthy a lot.
I love to see them in gyms, places where when I'm like working out or like playing basketball or something at the gym.
Even like in your fridge. And I think it's a great product.
In terms of the future of Charge, I know they're in great hands with a lot of great people.
Schools are littered with junk food without healthier alternatives. This is why I would love to see Charge as an option provided in our school. It not only serves as a healthier alternative for our students when they're at school, but it also represents the hard work of our own students.
And now for our customer profiles, the main buyer we're targeting is parents of high school athletes. And why should they care? It's because they can have confidence that their kids are drinking the best thing that's for them. And then for our consumer, it would be the high school athletes. Why should they care? Because it's a more healthy alternative and they need more effective replenishment for themselves. Then for our total addressable market, we got that there were 74 million people between the ages of 0 and 18 in the US, and 55% of them play sports, and 57% of those kids drink sports drinks, which gives us a total number of buyers of 23 million. And with a frequency of purchase of 35 per year and an average unit price of $3, it gives us a total addressable market revenue of about 2.5 billion. And for our serviceable addressable market, we had that there was 23 million people from our total addressable market, and 8.8% of those people live in Illinois, and 7.3% of everyone in Illinois lives in DuPage County, which gives us a total potential customers of 150,000 with a frequency of purchase of 35 and an average unit price of $3. That gives us a SAM revenue of $16 million.
All right, so we projected our growth based on an article from equidim.com and the help of our business incubator teacher, Mr. Broca. So the article said that the projected growth rates for startups are going to be 179% in year 1, 100% in year 2, and 89% in year 3. We have these to give ourselves a conservative estimate to make sure that we don't have any false sense of security in our projections. So with the starting figure of 150 units in month 1, based on the units we project that we'll be able to sell to the track team, we are projected to sell from that with the growth rate around 12,000 units by the end of year 3. Year 1 revenue, our profit will be 3,900, year 2 will be 5,800, and then year 3 will be 7,900.
So for our marketing strategy, 10% of our forecasted revenue per year is going to our marketing budget. So that means year 1, we're spending $66 a month. So $792 are going towards brand awareness campaigns, and 66% are going towards ad campaigns. So half of those are going to Facebook and half on Instagram. And that's so we can target our buyers on Facebook, who are the parents, and our consumers on Instagram, who are the high school athletes. And then 33% is going towards our ad creation. And how we will acquire new customers is through our entertaining ads.
So our profit margin, from our projections, we have a total revenue of $35,000. And then when we subtract the cost of goods sold, for all of that, we get $8,400, which taken out of the total revenue, we have a 23.8% gross profit margin. So when we take $6,800 out of the total revenue, we also are left with a 19.4 net profit margin. For cost of goods sold, our blueberry pomegranate and our mango drinks are both super similar in cost to make. It's just a 3-cent difference, so that's reflected in the different prices that it's going to take us to make all of them throughout our whole projections for the whole 3 years. So it's going to cost us $26,900 at the end of year 3. Our SG&A, we're going to use hosting or web hosting for all 3 years of operation. And then our advertising budget, which is 10% of our projected revenue per year. So this is going to come out to $3,500 by the end of year 3.
So back in February, we ran our MVP test for our product, and we brought 4 gallons of our mango flavor for the boys track team to try. And we tested for if they liked the flavor, if they liked if the drink made them feel good, if it was replenishing, and if they would purchase it in the future. And the results, consumers actually really liked the flavor, and if anything, they wanted it to be more powerful, have more of a kick. And consumers said that they would purchase it in the future. 69% of the people that tried it said they would definitely put money towards the drink because it made them feel good and ready for the practice.
So our COGS for the first 6 months, we have 1,000 units we're planning on selling, so that's going to be $2,500. And our SG&A for the first 6 months is $870. So our total is about $3,400, and we round it up to about $3,500. So we are asking for $3,500 for 15% equity. And our exit strategy is to sell our company at the end of year 3. So some highlights on what investors are getting from us. You're getting an investment gain of $45,000, a 167% estimated return on investment, and an internal return rate of 71%. And most importantly, you're promoting an ethical product that helps high school athletes become the best they can. So thank you. We are Charge, and we're very committed to our product, and we look forward to growing our business with you in the future.
What a wonderful presentation you gave. What I really liked about it was personal. I felt like you were bringing me into your story, and I really liked that. You did your homework, you did everything you were supposed to do, and it just really resonated with me. The only thing I wanted to know was why I didn't get to taste it before I got to be here. So hopefully at some point I will. But having said that, and having welcomed you as our last but not least group, we're so happy to have you. My question would be, one of the things that you focused on was that you would target high school parents. And I guess I want to know why you would keep that such a narrow focus when there's a whole world of people that drink sports drinks. So if you could address that, that'd be great.
Yes, so we decided to target the parents of high school athletes because we figured high schoolers are obviously growing a lot, and we're kind of coming into maybe the peak of our athletic careers. And so we realized that a lot of high schoolers are having the issue of they need this replenishment that they're not getting with mainstream sports drinks. And so we targeted their parents because oftentimes our parents buy our beverages in bulk for us since we're always on the go. And so we targeted them also because they focus more on our health, and we thought that would intrigue them more and catch their attention more than the students themselves additionally. So yes.
I had a question for the group, and my question was around, I liked your presentation. I thought it was really well done. One of the questions I had is, and I go back to what Cynthia said from a high school perspective. When I think about high school kids, is it, to them, is it more important to have healthy drink or a good tasting drink?
That's one of the things we really talked about, was making sure it was something that high school kids would actually want to drink and not just something their parents would want them to have. So we messed around with a lot of different things going into the drink, like sweeteners that could replace sugar. Like right now we have stevia as our main thing. And so I feel like high school taste is really important because at our MVP pitch, the track practice, a lot of the things that people said was that it felt great, but the taste could be a little stronger. So that's taste is one of the things we're mainly focusing on working. But I do agree that taste for high school kids seems to be very important based on what we've discovered.
Which is great. I have a question on in your presentation about TAM. You talked about ages 0 to 18. And I'm not sure why you would be including like the infants and toddlers and something of that type. I'm not sure. Those numbers would kind of skew the generating numbers you had after that. So just can you answer that for me, please?
Well, I do kind of realize that's a bit skewed now, but I feel like ages like 4 to 18 would still be included. So the ages like 0 to 3, that would only be like probably like 15 million or so, maybe 15 to 20 million. So that's a bit skewed, but I don't think it's going to greatly affect it as much.
Yeah, I would just recommend maybe in the future, update those numbers if you did a presentation again, because 0 age, 0 to 4, 0 to 5 doesn't really make much sense to me.
All right, will do.
What, like, did you guys brainstorm or think about, future scenarios and how you would try to get beyond some anecdotal evidence around the effects of this drink versus other drinks? What resources are available out there? Did you become aware of maybe some of those KPIs that you would want to chase if you were to continue pursuing this product?
Well, I'm a hockey player. I go to a lot of tournaments, a lot of local ones, and a lot of some that are around the Midwest. And when we were planning our MVP, we were also thinking of going to the Illinois State Hockey Championships that happened in March. But then that idea was pushed aside because it's kind of like a little bit of a harder area to get into. And if when we keep going and growing, you can maybe expand to things like that, or you can even expand to more high school sports, football games, basketball games, and maybe some other club sport tournaments or etc.
Yeah, besides exposure to other groups and bringing our drinks to more sports, we were also planning on, as we grow our business, meeting with food nutritionists, and we were put in contact with a Gatorade, someone who used to work at Gatorade and was aware of the health benefits of the drink. And at the beginning of this process, we also talked to our food science teacher. So we were definitely looking more at understanding how our beverage affected our consumers in comparison to other beverages.
I just wondered, watching your guys' videos, and I think about all the sports drinks, did you ever think about, instead of a drink, making a powder?
We did, yeah, at the beginning. We we kind of decided that like a drink would just be a better way to go because it's just something to grab, go, it's nice and easy.
Yeah, we explored powders, and someone brought up like the like concentrate that you can squeeze into waters. But we decided to focus on a beverage first before expanding our products because it was easier with the ingredients we were using, especially like the stevia extract, since it's a liquid. Yeah, so we were thinking about expanding in the future later, but we wanted to focus on our primary product first.
I have a question. In your MVP, you mentioned that 69% of the testers would purchase your product again. Did you get any feedback from the 31% that said that they wouldn't?
Yeah, we did. So there's the people that didn't, like I said earlier when I was answering Tim's question, they said it could have more powerful taste, and then it could just be a little more to it. And some of them even said it needs more sugar, but that's not the point we're doing. So just some very minimal complaints that we've heard from, and actually since then improved and implemented into our drink. And I think what we did has made it a more powerful flavor that they were asking for, but we haven't been able to test it because of everything that has been happening recently in the world.
There. So really nice job, guys. One of the questions I had was, have you explored what it takes to get kind of approved in terms of being a beverage creator, packager, in terms of what hoops you have to jump through to become a certified either production facility, or are you guys looking you'd have it produced by another group? What are you thinking?
We definitely, at the beginning, we looked into getting an FDA certification, which through some research, we found that it's going to cost us around $175, which we still need to do and make sure that we get that before we end up putting our drinks on shelves. And yeah, like you said, there's a lot that goes into like getting the nutrition testing. So like the label is all accurate and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, once all of this, all the events that are going on in the world and stuff, hopefully we can get to testing and getting that stuff so we can print it on the labels and get it approved to be actually sold.
On the marketing side, it seems like a lot of the really, really successful sports drinks have got some sort of a story, right? Like Gatorade's tied to the Florida championship team. And if you guys are familiar with Cocoa 5, like I heard that was like an underground concoction that the Blackhawks have been drinking for a bunch of years, and they've been drinking it out of Gatorade bottles. People love to follow that story, and it makes Cocoa 5 super cool. Have you thought that about like what could your story be? Like what like could you get this stuff into the hands of like every Illinois high school basketball team, and then do some sort of a story around how that drink led them to the championship game? Like have you thought through some of the story building? I mean, your story is very compelling, and I think that's been exciting for us, the Sharks, to kind of follow this through, the testimonials. But what thoughts have you had around continuing this story and making it even more emotional?
Well, we kind of had like this little motto at the beginning. It was like by athletes for athletes, because the 5 of us are all high school athletes. We want a better drink, not just for ourselves, but for the rest of the kids out there that are having sugar crashes and they're not getting the nutrients that they should be getting from the leading brand sports drinks. And we wanted to come through with our story saying that we are like those kids too. We want that. We want it to be better for everybody, not just themselves.
Another thing is with us targeting the high school aspect right now, because sports drink is such a hard market to just jump into with Gatorade and Powerade and all that stuff. So us targeting the high school part of it is part of the story is very important for having a successful product. And high school athletes are the up and coming. They're the future of what athletics will be in 5, 15, 10 years, whatever. So I feel like that's going to be part of our story too, is how we're building the next generation of athletes that are going to be playing for however long in the future.
So what's the shelf life of the product, would you think? Do you have a sense of that?
Currently, since we were using ingredients that we had access to and our like natural preservative was lemon juice, it's not very long. I think it's probably about a week, as long as it's refrigerated. So as we developed our product in the future, like I said, we were looking to talk to more food specialists and find a way to naturally preserve it for longer.
Anything that keeps you guys up at night? You know, you've kind of lived this thing for a year now, but you know, if you decided to continue going forward with this thing and trying to iterate it to success, what are you afraid of?
I feel like people, especially high school kids, one of the things that I always think about is if they won't buy it simply because it's not the tastiest beverage, because that's not the market we're going for. So what I always think about is wanting to make it healthy and keep our standards, but still make it tasty for the kids that are going to be drinking it without breaking our moral ground and what this drink was built upon. So that's one of the things I always think about.
The things that I think about is, well, we have one of our main things that I put in it is coconut water, and I'm afraid, because I know some people might have an allergy or something to that something bad might happen with that and a lawsuit possibly.
I tasted this stuff. It's pretty spectacular, and I'm sure you've iterated it even from the time that I tasted it. So
I think coconut water makes it healthier. I think if you think of coconut water, people think it's healthy.
Yeah, definitely. And coconut water also has 5 electrolytes, obviously, which definitely make it more hydrating than just a regular water base. And it gives it more flavor, which we realized when we were testing with different bases.
Yeah, I drink a lot of it now. So maybe you have to go after our group.
I agree with Jay. I tried it as well. The mango I thought was really good.
Yeah, I drink it.
So this is Jeff. Just one last quick question. I was just curious. So in the video, I think you guys are stating that this is sugar-free. Is that right?
Yeah, it has no added artificial sugar. So we just use plant-based sweetener and the natural fruit sugars that are in the juice.
Okay, so it has some. That's where it's getting some of the sweetness of is the actual fruit itself. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And the stevia plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hey, one last quick question. So you guys were really straightforward, which I think we all appreciate in your ask. It's $3,500 for 15% equity. Remind us how far that $3,500 would take you guys at this point.
So our projection with the $3,500, let me just pull up our slide real quick. We definitely need to get the FDA certification and get the testing done so we can actually get our drink on shelves. And we also need to make sure that, yeah, like I said, tested. And then we also need to have money for the cost of goods sold to actually produce the drink, because right now we need to be able to have a fund for us to, buy the ingredients to make the drink, because once we start getting orders and stuff, then we can't actually produce it. We projected that in all 3 years of operation, it'll cost us around $27,000 to create all of the drinks. So for the first 6 months, we projected that we would be able to keep ourselves afloat if we had money to get ourselves going from then. And then after that, we can use the revenue that we generated from that to keep ourselves going and create more drinks.
Additionally, as we continue to make our drinks, we still haven't found a manufacturer. So once we find a manufacturer, we believe that our product will be made at a much cheaper rate. And so that will definitely sustain those funds for longer.
Well, great work, you guys. Yeah.
Great work. Thanks.
Nice job. Very well done. Good luck.
Hey, Sharks, thanks a lot for all the time and energy you put into this. The kids really appreciate all the feedback you provide them and helping them develop their products and their businesses over the course of the year. We really appreciate it.
Yep, and I think it's awesome how you Sharks aren't just here for this final pitch, but you're there throughout the year and you offer up opportunities for the students to reach out and be a support system, which these kids need, and they don't get that from a lot of other areas. So it's great to have the involvement from the community, and we appreciate all your work over the last several years.
just to kind of cut right to it, so the third place winner that we settled in on was Charge out of Wheaton South, and it was interesting. We had a really nice kind of deliberation between Charge and Belt-Cro. So we felt that both of these teams actually brought elements of the program to light that was, that were both very intriguing to us. And but in the end, we liked kind of the go-gettedness of that Charge team and how they tackled to try to get some early adopter feedback. And so we're excited to give them that third place spot, and certainly not taking anything away from Belt-Cro. It seemed as if there were some votes that were put forward for Belt-Cro too, but just kind of by an edge, we settled in on Charge. So excited for that team, and certainly don't want this process to discourage any of the 6 teams. But certainly, we think Belt-Cro, if they want to stick with this, they should. And I think that the collective group of Sharks would be happy to help them in any way that we can, along with our top 3 teams.
From the Student Excellence Foundation, congratulations to Team Charge for being the second runner-up in this year's Business Incubator competition. We have a check for you for $500 as your first investment money, and we'd like to thank the Rotary Club of Wheaton for pitching in to provide that investment money. Thanks.
And our second place Team Charge card, when you think about how great is the idea, how ambitious or too ambitious could it be construed to tackle such a crowded and possibly fragmented space in this personal device kind of charging arena. But lo and behold, this team gets a hold of the idea, and they start executing towards prototype, and here they are as our second place finishing team. And it there's definitely something very euphoric about their product and their design, and kind of, everyone, I think, to a T was like, oh yeah, we would buy that.
From the Student Excellence Foundation, congratulations to Team The Charge Card for being the runner-up in this year's Business Incubator competition. We have a check for you for $1,000 as your first investment money.
Our first place and the 2 first place teams both had, I would say, one of the people in the group, I think it was either Jeff or somebody, said it was 1 and 1A. We had the same amount of votes for both of these teams, and it was just a matter of sifting through and trying to figure out what we thought. And the number 1 team was My Color. They thought that My Color did a great job of presenting. They thought they went and did the extra effort to try to figure out, and they think, and we as a team feel like it's a very viable product that they would take forward. So, and to all of us, it's kind of a cool, team because, and a product because, initially we all kind of thought, oh, what's this? And then as we got into it, and we thought it would be kind of cool for the district and for the teachers, and so, but we thought My Color really followed the process and what we really wanted to see, because one of the things that we really emphasized as a group was that, and we want to emphasize for next year, is it's not about the product as much as it is about the process. And so who follows the process, who does the work to follow those processes. So it was My Color.
everyone. Just wanted to take a quick second and thank all of our coaches and mentors for another tremendous year of INCubator at School District 200. Without the energy and focus that these mentors and coaches provide to our teams of students, the program surely would not be the success that it is and will continue to become. I think our great community has even more pent-up energy that could prove to be extremely valuable to these students, and I would love to see you or anyone that you know that has experience in business or just good experiences in life that could prove valuable to students trying to incubate a business or service idea through to a successful fruition. Please reach out to the school district and find ways that you can get involved. We don't need to tap into your pocket, and the investment that you can make with your brain, with your heart, and with your ideas will pay dividends for at least a generation, if not more. What a great program that we have, and what an amazing way to empower students to make the future more bright. Thanks again, and we appreciate your help.